Member for Newtown.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. The New South Wales Intergenerational Report you released this week predicted demand for social housing would increase by 68,000 households by 2060. Currently, there are 50,000 applications on the waiting list. Given you have previously acknowledged the benefit of investment in social housing for the economy, what is your plan to invest in social housing to address this crisis?
Treasurer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the sensible member for her sensible question. We're on a unity ticket, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to social housing and affordable housing, because no one has done more in this space than the Berejiklian-Barilaro government, Mr. Speaker. We know that. Even the Greens. Well, let's take up on that interjection. Let's take up on the interjection. Whilst we might agree certainly on the outcome, the social outcome, but disagree on the funding source, I think we can all say that investing in social and affordable housing and providing support, particularly for vulnerable people right across our state, is a sign of any good government. And strong, which we know on this side, we've been able to increase that investment because strong financial management and strong social outcomes are two sides of the same coin, Mr. Speaker, and that's what you've seen from our government. And I'm pleased that the member has read the Intergenerational Report. Probably the only person outside Clayton on that side of the House who has, Mr. Speaker. But if we look, I agree with the premise of the question. I think we've certainly seen that during COVID, and early on with the minister. We made substantial investments as part of our stimulus package, and one of the key areas that we focused on was social and affordable housing, because they were projects in the short term that would be able to drive employment, drive jobs growth, and at the same time ensure that we had a great social outcome at the end. And we saw that firsthand. Of the $2.3 billion support package included $34 million to prevent homelessness. There was $14 million for emergency accommodation and $20 million in rental subsidies. But to the question, the $60 million is probably more important that we put into maintenance and upgrades. And we saw firsthand from, I think, the start of the pandemic to within 6 months, that maintenance investment had provided employment, but importantly, we saw people being able to move into that housing within. Yeah, and there's no doubt that, as pointed out in the Intergenerational Report, this will become a more substantial issue going forward, and governments will continue to need to look at ways, whether it's through social impact investing, which we've done in the past, whether it's through asset recycling, which I know you oppose, but it helps unlock capital that we can drive into future housing. So what you will see in the upcoming budget is continued investment in housing to support permanent long-term support for the needy in our society. And as the IGR shows, if there is no policy change, if we continue on current trends with population growth and home ownership declining, there will naturally be a greater burden on social and affordable housing in this state. And the purpose of the Generational Report is to provide advice to government of what that future could look like, so we can avoid those trends and not just tackle the issue in isolation in terms of investing in social and affordable housing, but also housing generally, so there's not that pressure going forward. Now, the demand, as you pointed out, in relation to this could cost the state around $12 billion over that period of time, and there are significant consequences to the state if that demand is not met. So what we need to do going forward is to continue the work that we have been doing in this space. We know in 2016 this government set up the Social and Affordable Housing Fund, which we see with $1 billion. We'll continue to work in that space to unlock capital which we can invest in housing right across the state. Since May 2017, the SAF has delivered over 1,300 social and affordable dwellings, and work is currently underway to deliver close to 3,500 more. If you look at the Ivanhoe C+ estate renewal, that will transform 250 social housing properties into over 3,000 socially integrated properties with over 900 social and 100 affordable rental properties. But on the capital side of things, we'll continue to invest in the LAC, $600 million there, more capital stimulus of in addition to the $250 million. We put $150 million new capital into the Claymore and Bradbury areas, and and that shouldn't just occur in isolation. Obviously, with Aboriginal housing as well, that's a crucial part. So, we put $212 million into that for the members' information. So, can I say to the member for Newtown, I completely accept the premise in the question. This government has done more than the previous government, but that's a pretty low standard, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to investment in social and affordable housing, we should do more, and we'll continue to do more to ensure that when we get to 2061, Brad won't be here, but we will, making sure. I think you know what. Making sure to the member that the most vulnerable people in our community have access to the housing that they deserve.
Mr. Speaker.